Now, the far-left efforts to indoctrinate our kids is on display yet again tonight as documents obtained by Judicial Watch and provided to FoxNews.com find that Montgomery County, Maryland, launched a lesson plan back in 2020 teaching kids in schools that there's, quote, a dual pandemic involving COVID-19 and systemic racism, and even promoted a book called Anti-Racist Baby. And that's not all. Out in San Francisco, children aged 5 to 11 now will soon be required to show proof of vaccination in order to gain any access to indoor businesses and activities. That means even a restaurant or a gym. But rather than focus on whether such rules follow the science, the mob, the media, they're spending their time actually mocking their fellow Americans that are really suffering, especially the poor and the middle class, as a result of Biden's energy policies, economic policies, inflation, for example. After, for example, the CNN segment spotlighted a family of 11 in Texas concerning the rising cost of milk. Take a look at this.
We started seeing everything going up. Grocery prices went up. Gallon of milk was $1.99. Now it's $2.79. Well, when you buy 12 gallons a week times 4 weeks, that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. And that prompted what from the media mob? Nothing but mockery. Look at New York Magazine. Their writer there writing, quote, 12 gallons of milk a week may sound like a lot, but they've actually had to cut out their milk baths on alternate days. And to his credit, CNN correspondent who did the piece pushed back, called out the comments for trying to mock a family who's speaking about the difficulty in dealing with the rising cost of food prices. Here with reaction, Outkick founder Clay Travis, along with Leo 2.0 TERRELL. Wait a minute. So first we got Leo 2.0. He's selling those hats by the hundreds of thousands. And now we got Clay with a Let's Go Brandon T-shirt.
Good job, Clay.
Okay, now...
Good job. I like it.
All right, now, you've been selling those, true or false. How many have you sold, if you can tell us?
I think we're nearing over 10,000 of these T-shirts, Sean. So it's been a good week. I mean, we're going to sell a lot more. Go to Outkick.com.
Where's mine?
Buy them right now. Rock them wherever you go.
Yeah, give me one.
Sean.
Let me have one of those.
Cut now.
Well, wait a minute. I still don't have a Leo 2.0. I don't have a hat, and I don't have a T-shirt. I don't know. We may have to get new guests that are actually more generous to the host.
Your whole staff has T-shirts. They're asking for more. I sent a whole bucket load for them.
Listen, I'll even pay for it if it's that important to you. I just want one of the T-shirts. All right, let me start with the mocking of this family. You know something? All right, maybe a gallon of milk was $1.99. Now it's $2.79. You know, there was a point in my adult life, Clay, where I really struggled to pay the rent. I remember that like it was yesterday. I go grocery shopping every week. I still have a little bit of that mindset. I can absolutely afford anything I want to buy in the grocery store. But I still don't like to pay $1 more for an item that I was paying less for, 4 months ago. But for a family of 11, this is now milk or, I guess, water for the family. And people in the media make fun of that?
No, I think it's absurd, and I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's downright sad. I mean, I'm with you, Sean. There have been times in my life where I've worried about whether or not I was going to be able to pay the mortgage. I had 2 young kids, had a job that I really liked, and then, like a lot of people around 2009, 2010, I lost my job. I was unemployed. I didn't know what I was going to do with 2 kids under the age of 5. And there are a lot of people out there right now struggling and mocking and ridiculing people who are living paycheck to paycheck is not the way to endear yourself to anyone. And I think this is the bigger issue and larger problem that Democrats have. They have become a party of coastal elites who mock and ridicule people in the middle part of the country who are living paycheck to paycheck. They no longer represent people who are working in unions. They no longer represent regular people who may not have had college degrees and advanced degrees and don't have a lot of money sitting in the bank. And so the idea that you would ridicule them as the prices of goods everywhere are skyrocketing is a testament to, frankly, why the Democrats got their ass kicked all over the country on Tuesday and why they're heading for an even worse ass kicking, I think, next year.
You know, and Leo, you add Maryland's most populous county telling students a double pandemic, COVID and racism. And now we're going to drag kids 5 to 11. If they want to go to a restaurant or a grocery store or a drugstore, they have to now prove they're vaccinated. Now, we've gone and we looked at the numbers from the CDC. 162 kids between that age have died from COVID, about the same rate as kids that die from the normal flu on any given year, which it's about the same. So considering this is a disease for older people that does not impact on any mass scale young people this age, why would they force people to do this?
Because this is simply a game of the Democrats using the pandemic. They want it to last forever. They use it for power and control over our lives. Not their lives, not the Democrats who are going to the French Laundry and the Nancy Pelosi going to the hair salon, to control the everyday people. Clay's absolutely right. The Democratic elite lives by a different standard, but they use the pandemic to control us. They want the pandemic to last forever. And I have to talk about that Maryland double system of pandemic and systemic racism. I want to be clear. There is no systemic racism. Where is the boogeyman, the racist boogeyman? The only racist boogeyman I know of is the guy you point out with all the racial friends, Joe Biden. But they play the systemic racist card without identifying the system that is systemically racist or the person who leads it. This is the Democratic playbook, Sean, because the foundation of the Democratic Party is based on racism. And without it, they do not exist.
Yeah, well, and that was the narrative from the media. Racism, racism, racism. That's what happened in Virginia. That's what happened in New Jersey.
Right.
No, I take issue with that. Clay.
I got to say this, too. Sean, can you imagine being a parent and taking a 4 or 5-year-old to McDonald's and they card your kid? Do you have to take a birth certificate if they're 3 and they're a little bit bigger than their age? Are you kidding me with what San Francisco is doing right now? You can't even take your kids to McDonald's without taking a vaccine card with you. And again, how are they going to determine the difference between a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old? This is all unscientific.
By the way,
madness,
you better show your papers.
It's got to stop.
You need a picture ID to get in the White House or the Capitol or to get a 6-pack or to get a jewel pod.
But not to vote.
Not to vote. Makes a lot of sense. All right. I expect a shirt and a hat as soon as possible. Thank you both. More Hannity, straight ahead.